Welcome to the Tactics Talk for probably one of the biggest games of the season, Sam.
Not Forest size.
Sorry?
Not in Forest size.
Well, maybe not, but we have been asking a lot of questions over the last couple of days regarding this game because there's a lot of questions from the Southampton game probably asking in King Cooper's head at the moment regarding...
He's got a lot to think about.
He has. So we'll get into the team news in a minute, but Sam, your thoughts on the game before we do get into the team selections?
Well, it's a great opportunity, really, as we've got a Forest fan and a Leicester fan that can talk through the games. I'm obviously kidding. I think it'll be a good match. It's one I'm looking forward to. It's one of my first matches in a long time for the international break and a holiday that I've been on, so I'm looking forward to first game back at the King Power in a few weeks being Forest. You can't go wrong with what we would class as a derby anyway. I am looking forward to it. I think it'll be a good game, and it's definitely going to put us to the test against what you probably would class that higher end mid-table team. That's probably where Forest are. I mean, they've had an amazing start to the season. It's hard to deny that. As much as we would always like to get them one upon them, it's not going to be an easy match.
No, it's not. Again, they haven't had the worst starts. Again, they've only had one loss all season. I think they've won 3, drew 4, and lost 1. It's not going to be an easy game.
No.
No game in the Premier League is going to be easy.
No.
But after the 2 wins we've had on the bounce, can you see us giving them a game and actually deserving to? Again, I feel like we've not really gave anyone a full 90-minute game and said we deserved it in a way.
I know that's been some people's concerns of we've not played for 90 minutes, but football isn't over. It isn't. It's determined after the 90-minute mark. You can say 10 minutes we played good and that was it. But if those 10 minutes of playing good gets you a win or a point against some of these teams, that's all that matters. So obviously we would like to have a little bit more consistency, but when we got promoted last time, really, the consistency wasn't there, but the passion and heart was. And I think we can all agree that so far in every game, I mean, you can look at some of the stats, but in every game so far, we've scored a goal, and only Man City is the only other team to do that. So that, for me, that shows that we are fighting, at least, under Rodgers. I'm not so sure if we went 2-0 down against Southampton, we would have brought it back to a 3-2. I'm sure it would have ended up being a 3 or 4-0 to Southampton. So I am enjoying, excuse my throat, got a bit of a flu infection going on, but I worked through it. Like I say, looking forward to what we can pull out the bag, and obviously Steve Cooper's old team, isn't it?
Yeah. Moving on to the other side of it then. Obviously, give Cooper credit for what he did in the second half, but I will say as well that going into this team selection, there was a lot of players that maybe earned spots going into it as well.
Like I said, Reed, I've said to you multiple times and on the Tactics Talk show that there is no harm in the healthy competition. And if someone like Fatu has to fight for his place, then go for it easy, boys. Or
I'm guessing it means that Forest is going to be easy.
Oh, let's hope so, Leon. Dean says there, he's going to pull his comment up. Hi, guys. Heart says, Fox's heart says, Blue Heart says 2-1. His football brain says 1-1. I mean, hey,
I think we'd be happy with a draw.
I'd take a draw.
If you beat Ipswich, that is. I think if you could take a draw against Forest.
If we said 2 games ago before we beat Bournemouth and Southampton, how many points would you take from the next 4 games? I think the majority would have said anywhere between 6 to 9.
I said 9.
So
and we're 6 there already.
And we're already 6 there. So I think if we can get a draw against Forest and get a win against Ipswich, we're definitely flying, and we'll show you that the points away is not an issue if you can beat the teams that are below us away. And we're not making it easy for ourselves, really. That's a fact.
Yes, it's not been pretty.
It's not been pretty, but football doesn't have to be pretty. It's the result that matters at the end of the day for us this season. We can worry about being pretty next year, I think. But we'll get into our team media. I think we're going to have. I think we are starting to find our feet a little bit. Yes. I still think there might be a little bit of variety.
I think we could start going to one team and just having a bit of debate, because it is now slowly going to more of a settled back.
There is still a little bit of debate, and obviously get your guys' comments in when we start to put them in and say you agree, disagree, who you would or wouldn't start.
Leon here also says I'll take a draw tomorrow, but it means beating Ipswich, doesn't it? Again, if you gave me guaranteed 3 points versus Ipswich, I would, don't get me wrong, obviously we all want to beat Forest, but you'd take the points and say we're doing well.
The best way to look at it is you have to take each game as possible. There's no point trying to merge what can we get from these next 5 fixtures on point basis. It's more of Should we be beating Forest? No, not really. Should we be drawing there? That would be nice. If we do beat them, that would be amazing. If we do get a draw, that's also a good result. If we lose, we lose. It's one of those. But then you move on to Ipswich, where it's like, well, we should really be getting bare minimum point there. You don't want to go there and lose because that rocks the apple cart, as they say.
Yes.
So we'll move into our teams now, really.
Go on then, you go, because we both know who's going to go.
Hermansen again. He's had a great start to the season. I've seen some of his stats, some of the highest in Europe, let alone the Premier Leagues, for saves and stuff like that. So, he's definitely having a great start to the season for us. Doesn't have to save much. I think the defence in front of him has been fairly solid, where he's not had to overly produce the saves, but when he does, he's ready and he's making those good saves.
Yeah, like I say, I don't think there's much of a change here. At the start of the season, I was maybe having a thought about Welsh manager, Welsh keeper. Is there any look in that? But of course not. Again, it seems he's coming up from the championship. We've seen how well he is. And we said, could he step up? And I think he's, out of all the players in the team,
he definitely has stepped up. And I think the defence around him has also stepped up. Obviously, there's been some question marks on some of the positions, which we'll get into. But Hermansen, when he's been put to the challenge, he's done what he's needed to do, really. He's obviously, I'm pretty sure we've conceded in every game but one. Yes. But he's done what he needs to.
Okay then, defence. I think this is probably where we're most settled at the moment. I think people have got reasons to say why we need to change it. For instance, we have conceded a lot of goals down the right-hand side.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that big of an issue, and I don't think that someone like Christensen deserves the drop to get someone else in the team. But it all depends on, do you think you need the quality over the maybe the passion?
It depends on how you want to rank it. And again, logically speaking as well, I know we're talking a bit about Pereira and Fatawu on the right side. Realistically, I think that's you don't really see those two together. We've not seen them this season because it probably is that two attacking threat. The defensive minded work is when if we're on a counter attack, we will get counter attacked by Forest. Is it the right move? But really, go ahead. You do your team first, and then I'll rebuttal or agree.
See, this is where I feel like if you had Ricardo and Fatu on the team together, I feel like I'd had more confidence and more security that we would keep more goals out. I feel like because JJ isn't actually, he more plays in that centre back role when we go attacking. So, do I put Pereira into this team? I think I do, just because I feel like we've got more solidity back there when he is in there, because he is better defending more. He is better at defending than JJ. JJ is better at that more centre back role when it comes to it, but I think being more solid and being an actual right back, I think this is where
your left back, I guess.
Christensen again. I don't feel like does JJ deserve the drop? I don't know, but I don't because of the style of Cooper plays, he's not going to drop Christensen because of how he runs up the pitch.
Yeah.
I don't think he will. I don't think Pereira will play, but I want him to play in this big game because we need that solidity in the back line and we don't want to concede another goal from that right-hand side.
Yeah, I mean, I hear what you're saying. I think Pereira's... I don't know. I've seen some of Pereira's stuff on social media and stuff like that. I think I am surprised by it. I think he might have a little bit of an attitude problem with Cooper. I've seen some of the stuff that I saw on one of his stories last week that someone sent him a message of blue heart and a bench, obviously joking that he'll be on the bench. But it's kind of like that kind of attitude. Is he taking into the training ground? He must be doing something wrong that is making him not start. And we've seen it before, really. Obviously, last season, Enzo didn't think Christensen was good enough, and yet he is starting in every game.
I don't think it was because he was not good enough. I think it was more because he didn't fit into the system.
I disagree, because any manager, if you had Cristiano Ronaldo in the team, but you don't play with wingers, you're not going to play Ronaldo?
He's a striker now. So.
But do you know what I mean, though? That kind of
I get it, but because he didn't play with actual fullbacks, he wouldn't fit in, because he can't. He's like old player that sits in that position. He doesn't. I just think it's like Wes Morgan. He wasn't going to go play on the left back role.
Play your best players and not your best position. I think that was some of Enzo's issues last year. Was he was trying to fit players into a system, that didn't really suit some of them. And maybe Cooper's thinking it the other way. Well, I'm trying to play the best players for the system I want to play. So at least he's picking the players that would fit best. Forever fit, I don't know. For me, we've won 2 in the game. I'm sticking with the same Tristan and Christensen left back, right back. I don't think it should change from obviously 2.
Don't get me wrong. I don't think it will happen. Putting Pereira in. I'm just saying. I think, in my opinion, it would be more solid and more confident to concede than having JJ. In my opinion,
it could be worse now that he's not really played much football. Now he could be under.
But before we do get into the centre backs, we did hear Cooper say about he does hear the outside news of people asking for Ricardo, asking to play other players. He did say you will see him gain time more rather than later. Again, he wants him playing, but I'm guessing he just picks his best team for what his opponents are. Again, he might prefer to play Ricardo against other teams like Forest. You don't know. He might prefer to play JJ against a team who's got a really fast winger. Never
know. Like I said, there's options to change things around. I think we're both going to go for the same centre-back pairing. Okoli and Faiz both looking like a decent pairing, the best centre-backs at the club. Whether they're gelling well, you've got one fast, one tall. I guess you'd say Okoli's.
I think FaZe is starting to show his quality now. Again, we always put that name on him to be the hot-headed player, the one who always seems to run up the pitch and then leaves space open at the back. But he's now he got.
Faiz the same though.
He got given the captaincy the other week as well, FaZe, and I think that obviously gave him a bit more confidence in that back line when Vardy came off to show that he is one of the leaders in the club.
Yeah, I think he, like I said, I think his attitude can be a little stinky at times. But maybe he does just need a little bit more of that leadership role to, that experienced player it's weird to say because he's not been with us for that long, but he is probably one of the more senior players in the defence when you look at it like it is now. If not him, it's Justin. And stuff like that. We'll get some comments in after we've done our defence.
Onion says, hello, chaps.
Shot him down. We'll read that one. Yeah, I don't know what you're on about.
He said that last week and you both shot me down.
Probably, that sounds like us.
Can you say what we're saying about? Is it about FaZe? Great player, looks like our best defender. I've never slated FaZe saying he's not good enough. I think there's just times where we've said that he isn't. He's not as good as a player as he can be because he seems to be a bit more
when you see
hot-headed. Oh, about JJ. Oh, okay.
What about JJ?
He looks like our best player, best defender. I don't believe that, in my honest opinion. I think there is I'm not trying to say it's all down to him, but there's a reason why we are conceding more goals down that wing. Yeah,
you could argue it for many reasons, or maybe it's because Justin is pushing up the field more. So when break, whoever the right back is, it is just more of an exposed area, just because that's how we're playing.
Yeah,
I don't think JJ's done that bad. I've never noticed him apart from I think it was the second game where he did have a stink. He let in 2 pretty sloppy goals against I can't remember who.
Fulham.
But no, it was a home game. I can't. But he's done okay since obviously had a cracking game against Arsenal, and I've not noticed him do much wrong. Maybe moves to left back and Pereira right back. Who knows? It's hearsay. You're never going to know, are we?
Okoli is our best defender. I would have probably agree with that. I'd say he's nearly on par with FaZe.
Yeah,
but I think Okoli out of the 4 is probably the best one out of the 4.
He's certainly doing well. Nothing to fault him so far.
Dallas Hill
back 3. I just don't think we're going to do again.
We did change it in the second half versus Southampton, and it did win us the game.
It's not back 3.
Yes, we took Christensen off and brought on a winger.
So I don't know.
We took off Christensen for wings.
And it might take Cooper some time to realise that's different formations, but at least with Cooper, he is trying to change things around. I
do agree. I think if people say AU is more defensively minded and he helps out defensive wise, for me, fast we can do just as good a job.
It's got 2 different feelings to it. I guess IU is that defensive minded.
Fatu came on for Christensen.
Sorry. IU is that defensive minded midfielder winger from the start. And Fatu, he gives you a bit of both. He's quick. It depends on how you want to play football. If you want to play fast, counter-attacking down the wing, bombings football, then Fatu is probably your go-to guy to sling the ball to. As we saw against Southampton, we knew we needed to attack, and that's why Fatu got more of the ball. I feel like there's other styles we've played so far, we haven't really been, juggernauting it down the wings because we're just trying to take it a little bit.
I think
slower.
Fatu as well is an unknown quantity, as in the fact of
He's earned his place. We'll move on to it. Really,
it's not about that. I'm saying that Fatu is an unknown quantity because he doesn't always play and because he's so young, people don't know what he's going to do. In a way, people don't know what he's going to do.
Say the same for a lot of players, can't you? Some of them have off games, some have good games. I thought Fatu getting dropped after the first couple of games was the right move to do.
Yes, maybe so.
And I said I feel like he needs a bit of time away from the pitch to do something like he did against Southampton, come on and actually change the game. And has he earned his place for Fulham, for Forest? I think so. We'll move on into the midfield.
Yes.
Now, really,
go on, you go first while I say that Westcott is injured.
Right. Injured, whatever.
Injured.
He's not good enough anyway, really. Let's be honest with the defenders we've got.
Go on, then, midfield for you.
Skip, again, go straight into the team. I think he's starting to turn into a very little consistent player there, not doing much wrong, not doing much right. And obviously you got a debate now. Who's the other side? Is it Winks? Is it Ndidi? Again, I can't critique on the Southampton game if Ndidi was good enough or bad enough, but I can critique that I thought Winks did a good enough game. So I'm going to put Winks back into my team and, keep that rotation of whoever's the better player from the previous match shoved back into the team.
Fair enough. I'm going to agree with you. Indeed, you don't see the light of day in my team. I'm sorry. Skip and Winks. For me,
on different sides on purpose. Is that you?
No, you
just felt like it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I just make it look a bit different. Look, there you go, bit different. Then.
A little bit different.
Again, I do agree. I think Winks after the game coming on in the game, I think he deserves his spot back. Yeah. He was consistent. He was quality to keep the ball and
it's what I've
hold
said
it.
All season.
We know he can do it. He dropped his level when he came.
It's what I've said all season long with these players is if you don't give them the competition of their place isn't guaranteed every week, then they're not going to fight for the team. If they're interested in actually wanting to play football, then they'll fight for their place. I think someone like Winks and someone like Fatu, they both want to be on the pitch and prove what they can do. They don't just want to sit on the bench. And I think it's good to flip-flop, plays in and out. And I think Ndidi has been one of the better players so far this season. So does he, I'm not going to be opposed to seeing him in the team. I just think there's a nice mix of healthy competition. And it also really, it's that saying, and a bit like Cooper did against Southampton, if it's not working or if we are going into the second half losing, you can do substitutes and switch those players on and off.
It's difficult. I get the point of Ndidi's stats. I do. But I just think performance-based to how his stats look, I think his stats are really overdoing it because his performance is a bang average. I can't lie. He misses half his 50-50s. I don't think he's that good of a player anymore. At the start of the season, I was like, he has to play because he's going back to that DM role. I thought he'd be quality for it, but his passing, his 50-50s, he doesn't do. For me, he doesn't do great.
I think he's been fine.
I think his stats overdo how good he is.
That leadership role as well. Like I said, I'm not opposed to it. In there,
if anyone comes out of that though, I think Skip would be the one to come out for Ndidi because I think Winks deserves that spot.
You never, like I said, there's nothing wrong with this competition in and around the team, and the team doesn't need to be the same every week.
No.
People can have their opinions on different.
I like the mix of the three though. I do like the mix of the three.
Yeah, like I say, it's a healthy mix to swap in players. Maybe against Forest, if we want to be more defensively minded, then Ndidi stays in and Winks comes out, or vice versa with Skip. There's nothing wrong. You see teams like Man City, they've got amazingly good players that sit on the bench, but they come on second half, so they come on in Champions League midweek. So I know we're not doing Champions League, but I just mean it's good to have that competition and that good enough mix where not any player's position is guaranteed majority of the team. Yeah,
going into the front four then.
Yeah.
I have a feeling, finally, after weeks have been asking for it, I think we're both going to agree on the front four.
Yeah, Bobby Reed and I. Left and right.
Imagine that comes out tomorrow at quarter to 7. I'll be bloody embarrassing.
They're both good rotation players.
Yes.
And IU. I think it is probably about time we do see Mavididi and Fatu.
I think they deserve to start after that.
Between them, like I said, I think Mavadidi's he's been okay. I think ever since he's got
Mhm.
into that team, he's been fairly consistent. But I also think that when he was dropped, and then he came into the games, he looked a lot stronger than he does now. That he's a bit complacent in that position.
Yeah.
Who knows? I like Mavididi. I think he's a good player, and I think he can be good. I think he just needs that. I think he's that confidence player where he needs something to happen early on for him to continue to be good. I think he needs an early goal or a nice assist for him to.
I think if he
perk
doesn't
up
get
that
anything
game.
between this until like the 60, 70 minutes, he starts to fade, and you start to not see his quality
But
come through.
like I said, I think Forest. If again, it's one of those games. It's not a free hit. It's a big game for us, and I do think at home, Cooper knows that it's a big game, and I hope he'll realise that we do want to see, a big performance. And
Do you want to see end-to-end football?
It's one of those. I'll come back to a couple of seasons ago when we got thrashed 4-1 to them, and I think the biggest issue was that Forest, and it might have been Steve Cooper managing them. I think at the time. That he knew that this is a big game for the fans. The fans know that this is a big game, so go out there and give them a good performance. Whereas I think Rodgers and the lack of player knowledge on how big a game it is for Leicester and Forest really didn't push them up, and they were like, well, what's going on here? Why are they absolutely thrashing us? Because the players that were playing at the time didn't care that it was, what we would consider a derby. I think, obviously, Cooper being on the other side of the team now, being on the Leicester side, the blue side, is going to see that and tell these players that this is a big game for the fans and they want to see a good game. They don't want it to be an average game. They probably do want it to be an end-to-end.
I think from what we've seen throughout the team already, though, I could mention like at least one handful of players that for me are given the effort because all they want is to play for Leicester and win games for Leicester. Again, Winks, Faze for me. You've got a Cody who seems to be doing well. You've got like I say, Hermanson. You have got players.
It's got a red card written all over it, doesn't it, really?
What?
Tomorrow night's match.
Well, yeah, maybe so. But again, Buonanotte, he's only here on loan, but he shows every bit of effort.
He's definitely shown
to try and to
you can
keep
see
it up.
why that Brighton signed him on a 4-year deal.
If there's any chance in hell we try and get him, at the end, I know we can't. But if there's any way that Brighton are like, yeah, we'll give him for 40 million.
Oh, they won't.
I'd be like, yes,
they won't be 40. They've signed him on a 4-year deal. I can guarantee you now, if we want to buy him, they will say it'll be at least 60 to 80 million.
Yeah, probably. But if they were like, yeah, he's young, take him for 40, I'll be like, just do it.
It depends on how serious we are. We've always been that.
He could fall off, but as of now, he's been absolutely
brilliant. He's been the best player for us so far.
Go on then.
Again, we're having a nice little chat here. We're not actually doing any work.
Oh no, this is about.
Let's get it in. Mavididi left side, Fatui right side. Yes, let's do the attacking. Let's start the two players that were very good last year. And both
they're back in.
Both shown enough quality. I think this year is this their first start together?
It will be.
Outside of a cup game, I don't know if they have.
No, they haven't even. This is the first time they'd ever start together.
But again, if it does take a bit of time to gel.
This is where we get the interesting bits.
Hopefully, this is where we see them work together. And like you say, if it's going to be an end-to-end game, which I think it is going to be, then play your two attacking wingers and just have a full-on 90-minute match of left, right, up and down the pitch, which I'm looking forward to. And now we're sat there saying it. Really, it's going to be two defensive teams that are just going to play for a 0-0 draw, isn't it?
Yeah, it'll probably be having AU, Bobby Reed. And DD.
I mean, credit where
Vestergaard.
Forest have a very good team, a very good attacking team. If I had to put my money where my mouth is, I'm going to guarantee Chris Wood score and he'll go.
Yes, he will.
Knee slide into the away.
Will he? He is ex-Leicester player.
I've seen him score at Leicester and celebrating.
Okay, I can't remember that.
I've seen him do it about 3 times.
Okay.
I think.
I don't think he cares about loyalty then, does he?
It's not about loyalty. I think you can move on from certain players. Chris Wood, he did what he did at Leicester.
He's a decent player, though. I can't lie. I would still have him at Leicester.
I remember his amazing kick he scored against Burnley in the Championship.
Yes, I was there. Yes, I was there.
I remember that goal. Cracking goal from him.
Yeah, I remember that now.
Was it talking 12 years later?
Yes.
Bagging goals in for Forest in the Premier League.
Can't wait. Go on then. You're front two.
Yeah,
okay.
It's obvious. El Khanous, again, he got a start. We said if he's going to start, try him. Again, I didn't watch the match, but I heard he did okay, but he was still a bit, lightweight for the Premier League, is what people are saying. And it does take time for some players to gel. I just think this season alone, we don't have the time enough where I know you've said don't fall in love with your loan players, but if he's good enough, when Buenatel's been as good as he is, I don't care if he leaves at the end of the season. A bit like a Cambiasso role, isn't it? I mean, Argentinian as well. If it keeps us
a lot
up,
younger.
Yeah, if it keeps us up, that's all that matters. Even if it's just here for one season.
I think I completely agree with what David's saying. I think AU is great to come off the bench. I think because of him being more defensively minded, I think when he comes on like he did against Southampton, yes, he scored the goal.
Well, yeah.
I feel like he can see out a game better than he does start game.
I hear what you're saying, and you can agree on that. I think I agree, but I also think on the flip side, I see it as if you're playing against a better team, one of the teams in the top 6, one of those higher end teams. If you start IU, you're restricting them a lot better. Whereas someone like Fatu against a top Premier League defence is probably going to struggle more.
I still think he can defend just as well as AU. I'm not saying about his defensive minded side of it. I'm saying about he can jump like a fucking Ronaldo. I'm saying he can jump like Ronaldo.
I don't like I say. I think Fatu's fine at defending. I think he's pretty okay at it. But I think IU's better at holding the ball. I think Fatu is that very quick kind of play. Like, yes, he may win you the ball back, but 3 seconds later he's gone and lost it again. Whereas IU will very easily, win the ball, hold it, win a free kick, or move it across and just slow the game down a little bit when it's getting a bit high tempo. Yeah. He offers a different style of play, and if it's going to be an end-to-end game, which I'm sure it is going to be against Forest, then this is where Fatu probably does thrive a little bit better, and he can show off his skills. I think he needs, like I said, a start in the game to show what he can do. I think there were still times against Southampton where he's still trying to be the wonder kid and be the best player on the pitch, but sometimes being the team player impacts it a lot more than trying to go for those amazing. I know he hit the crossbar.
I don't think he came into the team against Southampton though thinking he needs to be the man to win it. I think he wanted to do it for the team, and he was a big impact.
He did what he needed to do well. I think in the games that he started, that he's done it where he has gone a little bit. And even when he's come on as a sub, I think there's a couple of times where it's just that lack of experience has made the wrong decision. But I think, it's hard to tell. I do think he deserves his place this time, and again, healthy competition. That if it's not working, you can swap it around.
Right, striker. And don't wait before you say it.
What?
Daka?
Is he back?
Edouard? I don't know. But just trying to, instead of just putting the main man up front, is there any players you decide to have a think about, or
Jamie Vardy?
Yeah, fair enough. I was trying to make it a bit more interesting, but it's going to happen against Forest, isn't it? And hopefully he gets a hat trick.
I can already feel if it's an end-to-end game, 5 minutes in, Forest absolute clatter one of their centre backs and get a booking probably.
Or red card.
Nah, it won't be a red card. Vardy knows how to play the game well. We'll get a couple of comments in. Hecker said, I think he pulled it up, getting Ndidi. Yeah, again, there's an argument. I think me and Reedy both, apparently not.
I don't want them.
I would agree that Ndidi could slide to that team.
I wouldn't be offended. I wouldn't be offended if he went in there.
As we've said, there's enough healthy competition where if you rotate between the three, there's always going to be someone that says, why is this player not in the team when, but...
That's what Goalkeeper says, healthy competition.
We have started all three of them, and fans moan that is too defensive minded. So if you're not going to start all three of them, then we are going to have to move it around a little bit more. Like I said, he's saying he's best midfielder. Bar, if I can do most of this. Yeah, I agree. He has done well, and he can make it into the team. I think he's one of these bipolar players that can have a good game and he can also have a not so good game. So maybe we do need him against Forest. Only time will tell. We'll see tomorrow. I don't think any fans are really going to be upset, whoever it is in the midfield, because I think they know that between the three of Skips, Winks, and Ndidi, they're starting to turn to a nice trio. Whether that's on the bench or starting that, they're doing a decent job.
Yeah, Dallas Fox is here, says we need max points in the next 3 matches. Well, after that, we'll be looking to win one of our next 10.
Well, it's interesting to say that. Reedy's going to put up the fixtures for me now, so we can see that. Forest, a draw, I think, is a good result for us. Ipswich, again, if you want to really separate yourselves from those teams, I would say.
You got Man United after that.
Man United, again, that's a cup game. Obviously, that comes in between, doesn't it? We'll exclude the cup game for now. We'll just focus on the Premier League. Then it is Man U again away in the Premier League. Sod's Law, playing them twice in.
Then Chelsea.
So Man U again, yeah, and Chelsea at home. Chelsea's going to be a massive game. Also, Enzo coming back. Brentford tough. West Ham. West Ham aren't having that good of a start to the season. Brighton tough. Newcastle tough. Wolves.
I see his
should beat them.
point. I see his point.
The thing
There is a lot like that's just horrendous.
Yeah, obviously the Christmas game with a telly game. The thing is,
We are going to need to get as many points as we
well,
can before Man United.
Yeah,
Let's say
the
that.
thing is, teams have to play them at some
Yes.
point. If you beat the teams around us, that's what matters. We don't have to go and expect anything from Liverpool, Man City, Chelsea. You know, it's just those ones where you're right that they are going to be tough, but you know, the teams around us like Ipswich, Wolves, West Ham, Southampton, XYZ, they all still need to play those teams as well. So you know, we're not the only ones. It's not just us that Boxing Day upset against Liverpool. Not seen that before, have we, Reedy?
I've seen it many times, mate.
I know. It's always a good game, isn't it? They always seem to pick that. It doesn't. Liverpool, Leicester, Boxing Day, telly game. That it's such a coincidence that the random picker always picks those two teams on Boxing Day.
And then you got Man City about 3 days after it as well.
Yeah, shock. I'm sure that's definitely random, isn't it?
Yeah, Craig's last comment of the day then. Agree with that team without Ndidi and Ricardo. JG's been worked at and oppositions are targeting him. I kind of see it because, again, many goals have been down that wing.
I put him in my team, but you do have the argument that Hudson-Odoi for Forest, a very good player.
Finesse merge.
You know, maybe that is a weakness, but I guess you put it on the other shoe. Would you start Pereira against Forest with the fact that he's not played any games in 3 months now? Obviously, his match fitness isn't going to be up there, and it'll be a tough one. I think the right side might just be more exposed. But why is he on screen?
Because he might want to play.
Get him off.
He might want to play.
He doesn't get to play that.
I've not used that graphic before, so I thought I'd use him.
Who else? Let's have a look. Who else can we see that? Come on up.
Michael Golding.
Oh, where's he gone? He's in the academy for now, isn't he? A couple others, again, down in the academy. We're procrastinating now, really. We're just looking at players.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I'm going to take over. Here's one that we won't see again. There we go.
Oh, he's going to be coming off the bench. He'll be
if
smashing.
He does. I won't complain again. Healthy competition.
But before we do finish, score prediction, and then we'll end. Come on.
Ooh, do you want my
get your balls out.
Realistic or blue heart, as we saw earlier?
Go on, both of them.
There you go. Saying don't use that graphic again. There you go. Thank you.
Which one?
Boxes. The Daka one, obviously.
Oh, maybe Sumare. I don't know.
No.
I wanted to use them. I wanted to use them at some point. There you go. Go on. Score prediction and who scores.
I'll give you two. My heart says a 2-1 win.
There you go.
About
yeah.
But I think I agree with the guys that said earlier. Heart says 2-1. My head is saying 1-1. I'd love a draw. I would love anything out of the game. I'd love to win, obviously, but I mean, I would love to not get, battered or lose. I think a draw would be a good enough result. I mean, you got to think they're sitting in 8th right now. They've not lost. They've lost 1 game out of 8, so they've definitely had a very strong start to the season, and it's going to be hard to break them down. So if we can come away with a draw, I'll be happy. What about yourself, as a Forest fan? What are you going to say?
Heart or which way is heart or head?
Heart is what you would like. Head is what realistic.
Heart, I want 3-0.
Wouldn't that be nice?
It would be lovely, wouldn't it? Last time they were at the King Power, we battered them 4-0.
Their ground, they battered us 4-1, didn't they?
Yeah, that was in the FA Cup.
They still did it.
I think.
It's even worse because they were Championship then.
Yeah, maybe so. But yeah, I will say 3-0 Heart, and yeah, I'm gonna agree with you. Head says draw. Again, if we get them 3 points versus Ipswich, I'd be happy to take a point at Forest. But if it means the other way around, would you take that? Would you take Forest win and an Ipswich draw? Because you're still getting the same amount of points. It's just the other way around.
Again, like I say, you face the games that are in.
But if you beat Forest, you probably should beat Ipswich.
That is the logical answer. If you're going to do it one way, do it again for the next game. I think I agree with Terence. Oh, sorry, is it Terence?
Yeah.
I believe so, yeah. A draw Forest and then beat Ipswich, and I'll be more than happy. And that will keep us flying on 13 points. Which
we'll get 12 points in the last 4 games.
Yeah, like I say, if you do get these points, it's where it's starting to gel a little bit better. And then, like I say, a lot of the games after that, see what we can do against some of the big dogs.
Yeah, and then the last comment we'll get up is Jono says draw all day.
Yeah, can't get it wrong, can you? If we get a draw against them,
make sure to watch the show tonight with Jono and me. We're previewing the Forest game.
With a Forest fan.
Hopefully with a Forest fan. Hopefully with a Forest
They
fan.
don't pussyfoot out anyway.
But yeah, appreciate all the comments, guys. As again, we will see you next week, same time ish for the. Oh no, we won't, because we're doing one before Wednesday, because we're going to be doing the preview to the Carabao Cup game. So make sure you tune in for that. Obviously, we've got Jamie's show at 10 o'clock on Sunday. Phil's show on Monday, and there might be a watch along on
Terence saying
Friday.
What time is it tonight, Reed? Did you know?
7:30.
7:30. There you go. So tune in. 5 minutes before 7:30. Grab yourself a nice cup of tea.
Watch 2 Forest fans and the Leicester fan.
Yeah, these are not Forest fans, obviously.
But yeah, appreciate you all coming on, and we'll catch you on the next show. See you in a bit, guys.